Naam. Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. I would like to talk about something that I feel is very critical in the Islamic field, despite the fact that it is we hardly hear anyone speaking about it these days, and that is purification of the soul. Basically, sincerity. What is sincerity? Sincerity is the act of like making your actions purely for the sake of Allah. And you, when someone is sincere, all his actions are to Allah alone, and no one has a share in it. And for someone to be in such a case, it requires that forgets about the creation and his only concern is Allah. And this idea of sincerity is something that has been mentioned in several places in the Quran and the Hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how, like, when He mentions that we should worship Him, He mentions Fa'budullaha mukhlisina lahuddin, like sincerely making the religion for Him. And He says about people of the book, وَمَا umiru illa liya'budullaha mukhlisina lahuddin. So they are only commanded to worship Allah, making the religion sincerely for Him. In one hadith, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is asked about a man who does participate in jihad. However, the reason why he's doing it is so that he can be praised by his people, right? That recognition. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that he receives nothing from Allah. He's asked this question three times, and he replies the same answer. He receives nothing from Allah. The third time, he says that Allah only accepts actions that are done purely for His sake. And so, a core aspect of Islam is this sincerity, whereby one's actions are devoted to Allah. And the reality of this devotion is that we are purifying our actions for Allah alone. So, how can we be sincere? Sincerity has to do with our intentions, right? And it's not just a statement that you intend to do something, no. Rather, it flows from the heart. If you look at the hadith of intention, where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, "Innamal a'malu binniyat wa innamal likulli imri'in ma nawa," and it goes on, right? It says that actions are only with intentions, and for every man is that which he intends. Everybody intends something by their actions. So he gives an example of one action, hijrah. However, one person does it for Allah and His Messenger, and another person does it for the dunya or a woman that he wants to marry, right? His actions is for what he intends, meaning that there can be an identical action. However, the reward or what somebody gets is different based on what the intention. And so, sincerity, purifying our actions for Allah, has to do with intentions because the intention is what determines the reward. So, and when somebody intends actions for the sake of Allah or he does actions intending Allah, it means that Allah is the one that is desired or sought. So think now, how can we do actions and then we actually desire Allah? If we look at the things that we desire, maybe money, maybe a spacious house, maybe like a delicious food, right? Technology, all those kind of things, people are different, right? We see a commonality that we sort of know a thing and we perceive it in a way that is desirable to such an extent that we now begin to seek it, right? But what makes it so desirable is that the object has sort of found its place in our heart. Whatever is in our heart, then that is what we seek. Why? Because the heart is the organ of desire. And whenever it desires something, then intentions will flow from it, and then actions will be carried out in order to fulfill what was intended. And so, whatever is in the heart, that is what will be desired, and that is what we can call love. So, to desire or to love Allah, He has to be the one that is in our heart. And for that, Allah has to be known, because you can't love something that you don't know. If I ask you, what is your favorite food? You probably have a food that is your favorite. If, however, you taste something that is better than that, so you have now come to know something that is better, the better one will replace the former one, and the new one will now be your favorite. And the knowledge of Allah, it teaches us to understand that Allah is the greatest in every sense of the word, in His perfection, in His giving of benefits, in His authority, in His command, right? Allah is better than every single thing that exists in creation. And when we can understand that, we can then, like, Allah now becomes the object of desire. And this shows the importance of knowledge. And of course, it has been praised for its virtues in various places in the Quran and even in the Hadith. Allah talks about how He will raise those who have knowledge over those who don't have, and that those who don't have knowledge, they are not equal to those who have knowledge. He talks about how He bears witness that none has right to be worshipped but Him, and the angels do so, and also the people of knowledge. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was reported to have said that whoever Allah wants good for, He teaches him understanding of the religion. Ibn Qayyim Rahimahullah goes further and says, we can say from this that whoever Allah does not want good for, He doesn't give him the understanding of the religion. And in another hadith, he says that whoever treads the path of knowledge, Allah makes the path of Jannah easy for him. And so when we can come to know Allah, not in a logical way, but in an emotional way, because emotions are what drives desire, then the heart's desire now becomes Allah. And then intentions flow from that. And then we do actions seeking what is in the heart. So when you understand this, if you can understand this, then you can understand the wisdom behind the hadith. And the fact that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam qualified an action and basically grouped intention into two. Either it is for Allah or for dunya. And everything other than Allah, we can categorize it under dunya. And why the love for the Allah and love for the dunya cannot be united in one heart, because they are two opposing things. However, I would say ideally that once for someone should, like, if he intends Allah, right, he gets the reward of the akhirah and the dunya. However, if what he intends is the dunya, then he won't mind going against Allah's prohibitions and neglecting or slacking in the commands. And this is where his destruction lies, because actions are only by intentions. Intentions flow from what is desired. And when we take actions, we always take them desiring something. So the mukhlis, the one who is sincere to Allah, he takes actions seeking Allah's nearness, which is something that is difficult for you to do if you don't know Allah. So sincerity has to do with purifying our actions. And for our actions to be sincere, we need to desire Allah. And for that, we need ilm. Now, I would say that knowledge is of two kinds, that of the tongue and that of the heart. The knowledge of the tongue, it appears in people. It talks like someone that has knowledge, or you can show based on what the person is saying, right? However, he's still neglectful in doing actions, or what you see him doing a lot of disobedience to Allah. Why? Because the real knowledge is the knowledge that reaches the heart, and you can understand because of the importance of the heart. Whatever reaches the heart and the heart becomes to desire it, that is what will cause intentions and actions as a result. So if somebody, like, he understands Quran, he has books of knowledge and all those kind of things, however, it doesn't touch the heart, then the heart is a container. Something is always in the heart. And whatever is in the heart, that is what actions will be taken in order to seek. So if it's not Allah, it will be other than Allah. And if you have knowledge that doesn't like reach the heart, then the knowledge does not benefit you. And Allah has criticized people, let me not be specific, for this attribute, right? Whereby the knowledge does not benefit them. So things are only desired by the knowledge we have of them and the knowledge that reaches the heart. And whatever is in the heart, that is what will dictate everything, right? So when the heart can be made to desire Allah, it truly forgets the creation because the creation is not his concern. What is his concern is Allah. So he doesn't care for praise or for blame. Another thing is that actions can be carried out with pure intentions, or rather, yes, actions can be carried out with pure intentions. Why? Because Allah becomes beautified in the heart. And this is important. The beautification of something is in the desire for it. That is how it is beautified. You desire it, right? And finally, such a person is freed from the shaitan. The shaitan, if somebody desires Allah alone, then the shaitan doesn't have anything to tempt the person. And the shaitan cannot use anything because all the shaitan does is to deceive people, and he doesn't have anything to use and deceive them except the dunya. So when people desire the dunya or whatever they desire from it, he says that, oh, if you obey Allah or something, you will not get this or you will not achieve this, or there's no way for you to do this, or he brings excuses that, oh, it is necessary, or the times have changed and all these things, deceiving you and tempting people with that which they desire other than Allah. So, in summary, purification of the soul has to do with sincerity, and that is making our actions pure for the sake of Allah. And that requires intentions that are for Allah, and that requires that our heart, its object of desire, is Allah. And so, yeah, I think I'll just end it there. I find it something very interesting. If you, if this is something that, what do I say? Right, I would like to know what you think about it. Now, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, shalla ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum.